We will start today by reviewing our DMR that we were working on yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And yesterday I made a goofy mistake and I assigned you Wednesday's DMR yesterday when today's Wednesday. So today when you open DMR, you will notice that it says Tuesday because I made a silly mistake and switched the days, but that's okay. Still the same skills, so the order shouldn't really matter. Alrighty, first things first, you all put your name, yay. I do want to kind of bring attention to this. On the test, I am getting some that are completely blank in terms of names. If you don't type your name, you get a 0% F because I don't have proof of you completing the work. So make sure that when you turn this in, you've typed your name and not just put a space. Okay, because I have no way of knowing who you are if you don't put your name. All right, so make sure your name is typed on your quiz on Friday for sure. Okay, all right, rounding. We are struggling on rounding still, but it's okay. That's why we're practicing it. Remember, for rounding, you have several strategies. You have the rounding roller coaster, you have a number line, and you have the rhyme of 4 or less, give it a rest, and 5 or more, raise the score. So you have several different strategies that you can use. I think the problem is we're confused about which number is in charge or which number tells us what to do. Remember, when we round to the underlined digit, the place value next to it is in charge. So in this case, we're rounding 847 to the nearest hundred. So we know that 847 is between 800 and then the next biggest hundred would be 900. So whether I'm using my roller coaster or my number line, I would have the same benchmark numbers. It's either going to go down to rest at 800 or up to raise to 900. Then we're counting by tens because the tens place is in charge. So 810, 820, 830, 840, 850. And we know that's our midpoint. 810, 820, 830, 840, 850, 860, 870, 880, 890, and then 900. Now we're at 840. So we're going to go 10, 20, 30, 40. So this is where 847 would be on a number line or on a roller coaster. We can see that this is closer to the 800 side. So we are going to round down or backwards to 800. So your answer should have been typed as 800. If you were using the rhyme for 4 or less, give it a rest, 5 or more, raise the score, this is a 4, which is 4 or less. So we're going to give it a rest. Okay, questions on rounding. Are there questions on how to round? That's a quick review. Christopher.
It's because last time that I was doing this DMR, I got confused of the 8 because of the 4, because the 8 was underlined.
Yes, so that tells us that we're rounding to the hundreds place. So our benchmark numbers should be 100 numbers. Okay?
Yeah, I got confused and I thought it was 947.
Gotcha. Well, now we're reminded that when it's underlined, the place value next to it is going to be the boss. Levin, a question.
When you write your name, does it take your last name too?
Say it again.
On the name part, does it take your last name too?
You can put your last name, that's fine.
Oh, you didn't put your full name?
Huh?
You can put your full name?
Yes, that's fine. Alrighty, next one, it said multiply or divide. This is a division symbol, so we are going to divide. 72 divided by 8 equals 9, so you should have typed 9. The answer to a division problem is called the quotient. We just had a division quiz 2 weeks ago. Hopefully you haven't forgotten vocabulary in 2 weeks, but the answer to division problems is called quotients. Okay, fact families. Find the missing equation for this fact family. We can see that we have 4, 8, 32, 4, 8, 32, 4, 8, 32. So our answer should also have a 4, 8, 32, 4, 8, 32, 4, 8, 32. Uh-oh, they all have it. Oh no. I guess I'm gonna have to use common sense and see which one makes sense, okay? I know in division, the largest number comes first. 32 divided by 4, let's see if that equals 8. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. Hey, it does. So option 1 makes sense. Option 2, 8 times 4 equals 32. You got 8, 16, 24. That one makes sense too. Oh no! I guess I'm gonna have to use common sense again. Look up here. Oh, that's right there already. So that's not missing. A lot of you chose this answer. It does make sense, but it's not missing. It's right there. They copied it. So this one was not correct. That tricked you. 8 times 4 is missing. We have 4 times 8, but we don't have 8 times 4. The last two don't make sense because if I have 32 items and I make 8 groups of 32, I'm going to have way more than 4. So that doesn't make any sense at all. And then of course I have 4, and if I divide that by 8, but I only have 4. So that's definitely not going to equal 32, okay? So the missing equation, the correct answer was 8 times 4 equals 32. This one was tricky for a lot of you, okay? Make sure you are reading directions carefully. It asked about a missing equation. A lot of you chose this first one. It's not missing. You didn't read, all right? 6, I have 45 Pokemon figures because my name is Steve Rogers and I want to divide evenly. How many will go in each bucket? Well, I have 45 and there are 3 buckets. So I'm going to think 3 will go into 4 one time and 3 will go into 5 one time. So I'm going to start at 11. Let's add 11 3 times. That's going to give me 33. So my answer is going to be bigger than 11. So if I went from 33, let's see, if I added 3 more, that would be 36. If I added 3 more, that would be 39. If I added 3 more, that would be 42. If I added 3 more, that would be 45. Hey-oh, I've got all my Pokemon figures. So now I'm going to count how many times I added 3. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 times. I can also know that it would be 15 because I could add 15 3 times because I have 3 buckets. 15 here, 15 here, 15 here. 5, 10, 15, 10, 20, 30, 40, 45. Either way you go, you get the same answer. 15 Pokemon cards or figures. Yes, Steve Rogers.
I actually have 300 Pokemon figures.
Oh my gosh, of course he does. That is wonderful. Quite the collection. Keep them in good condition. They might be worth something someday. Levin, I'm going to zoom in now so I can hear you.
Steve Rogers / Captain America only have one more card than you.
Oh, just one more. Now we're comparing Pokemon stories. All right.
I have 500.
Now y'all are just bragging. Last one. Mr. Kemper wants to cover a wall in the cafeteria with a mural. The wall is 8 feet long and 9 feet wide. That's a terrible 8. There we go. And 9 feet wide. How large of a mural should Mr. Kemper buy? Well, if he wants this painting to cover the wall, that is the space inside of that shape. So that's going to be area. To find the area of the wall, Mr. Kemper wants to buy a mural, so he will need to multiply the blank of the wall by its width. Well, we better know that one because we've written it 500 times. Area is equal to length times width. Width is there, area is there, length is not. So he will multiply the length. Questions on this DMR? No? We're feeling good? And we're feeling good. Okay, fantastic. That's going to make us switch into our skill from yesterday that we did not finish. So here's what I need from you people. Go to your seesaw. You're going to scroll down. You're going to scroll down again. And you're going to stop right there at rectangles with same area and different perimeter. And Aiden Hampton and Josh Flowers, I'm going to send it back to you, even though I wrote a comment telling you that I'm sending it back to you and to keep it as a draft. And you turned it in anyway. Dun, dun, dun. Because we're going to finish it today. So I'm sending it back to you. Look at that. Delete. Oh, yeah. And then, Josh, you deleted some work. So, oh, you did it again, Josh. You deleted work again. Now you're going to be all kinds of confused and have to do work alone because your group's not going to have it with you. Dang, that stinks. All right, you are on rectangles with the same area and different perimeter. You are going to click on finish your response. And we're going to pick up with where we were yesterday. Remember, as always, I recommend while we are working on things together on Zoom, that you make your screen smaller so that you can keep your Zoom over here and see what I'm doing while you are working. I'm going to keep my screen big. That way you can be sure to see easily. All right. Okay, so we looked at our success criteria, but I've slept since then and I've forgotten quite a few things. So I am going to go ahead and play it again so that we can review our goal. This is our goal for this lesson. Today, you have a specific goal, and that goal can be found on target 3.2. Identify and draw rectangles with the same area and different perimeters. You also will be using math vocabulary to talk about this area. The area, the length, grid lines, perimeter, unit squares, and figure. Remember that rectangles are quadrilaterals. We also need to remember that you will be finding the area of rectangles with whole number side lengths by modeling with unit squares and by multiplying the side lengths. Yesterday, you were asked to set a vocabulary goal. I want you to look at these lovely vocabulary words here and think about which word you are going to use in your breakout rooms. Okay, so think about that. And we will get ready to pick up with where we were yesterday. We did slide 3 together. We did slide 4 together. Slide 5 is a reminder note. Slide 6 and 7 were our videos. If you're confused today, you can go back and watch those. Slide 8 is letting you know it's practice. And then slide 9 is where we left off. Some of you were able to get slide 9 finished. Some of you got it halfway done. We're going to go ahead and review it together today and make sure what you have is correct. Okay? One second, please. All right. So slide 9 asks you to create 2 rectangles with different lengths and widths that have an area of 24. You were then asked to record the perimeter or the area around that shape. Remember to count both sides of the corner squares. So where we were struggling yesterday was right here with our perimeter. This was a tough one for us. When you add the perimeter, remember, look right here, you have a formula. You are adding the lengths plus the widths. There's more than one length. There's more than one width. So you're going to add length plus width plus width. So on slide 9, a lot of you did 3 times 8. And it doesn't matter if you did it here or here. Either order is fine. For 3 times 8, you have a perimeter of 3 from this side, 3 from this side, 8 from the top, and 8 from the bottom. Altogether, that gives you a perimeter of 22 units, not units squared. Units squared is area, just units. So if I were to go around and check my work by counting the spaces or the units, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I get the same answer. Proof that it works. Okay? All right. Then over here, there were quite a few answers that you could have had. The most common one that I saw was an area of 4 times 6 equals 24 units squared. And that works because we know that 4 groups of 6 gives us 24. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. 4, 6, 12, 18, 24. So then when we created this rectangle, and if you didn't create this rectangle, you need to do it now. So go ahead and get your mouse ready to move the squares. Okay. We're going to create a rectangle with a length of 4 units. 1, 2, 3, 4. And notice that my squares are fitting inside of the grid lines. I'm not putting my squares like this. That's not going to give me a rectangle. So very neatly, fit them inside of those grid lines. You might have to move them a few times to do that. Okay. Then we're going to make our width of 6. So we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now you have 1 length and 1 width. Go ahead right now and finish filling in that rectangle. Okay, so you're just going to drag your squares until you have a rectangle that is 4 by 6, a length of 4, a width of 6. Okay, go ahead and work on that.
Aren't we supposed to do these in breakout rooms?
You are not supposed to be in breakout rooms. We're doing this one together. Yesterday you were in breakout rooms and we were struggling a bit, so I'm bringing us together to make sure we got it down pat.
Do we have to do it even if we did do it?
If you already have this yesterday, then you're awesome. You're just checking your work to make sure you have it all correct.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Good question.
Mrs. Do we have to do the same when you're doing?
What dimensions did you do?
I did columns of 6.
And then rows of 4?
Yes.
Yep, that's fine. So if your rectangle looks like it's on its side from what I'm doing, that's okay. Remember, right now I'm Miss Sousa. If I were to do a flip and stand on my head, I would still be Miss Sousa. So the direction of your rectangle does not matter. It's just the dimensions. Okay. So now that we have our rectangle created, and again, look at your rectangle and make sure it looks like a rectangle. If you've got squares doing this kind of thing, that's not a rectangle. Get those squares very neatly into their rows and columns using the grid lines, okay? Now we're gonna find our perimeter. Our perimeter is both of our lengths. So I'm gonna look at the longest side. That is 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's going to be 6 for the top plus 6 for the bottom of my rectangle. Some of you might have it on the left and the right, and that's fine too. Now I've got to do my 2 widths. Here is a width, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4 units. And over here is another 4 units. So I'm going to add 4 plus 4.
Miss Sousa,
Yes.
I put them on the wrong side, so does that mean I'm going to have to do it again?
What do you mean by the wrong side?
I put both of the shapes on the wrong side.
Oh, no, the order doesn't matter. So if this one is over here, that's totally fine, as long as you show me both of them.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to add. I know that 6 and 4 make 10. So I already know that this 2 sides together is going to be 10, and these 2 sides together is going to be 10. 10 plus 10 is 20. So my perimeter is 20 units. If I wasn't sure, I could go around and I could count each unit square. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on that corner, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and yep, I still got an answer of 20 units. Okay, so these are 2 possible rectangles that you have for slide 9. Let's go ahead and look at slide 10. Go ahead and go to slide 10. Aiden Hampton, you need to join us on slide 10. Josh, same to you. Okay, this asks us to create 2 rectangles with different lengths and widths that have an area space inside the shape of 16. So now we're going to be using 16 squares. Then we're going to record the perimeter or the area around the shape of each rectangle, okay? Who has two numbers, two factors that multiply together to equal 16? What two numbers multiply together to equal 16? Aiden Hampton, are you raising your hand? What two numbers multiply to equal 16?
It wasn't about that.
Oh, is it about math?
What is the name of that assignment?
This assignment is called Rectangles with Same Area, Different Perimeter. It was assigned yesterday. Two numbers that multiply together to equal 16. Levin, what are they?
Oh, that was it earlier. I
Gotcha.
had a question earlier.
You know two numbers that multiply together to equal 16.
8 times, no.
8 times what?
2 times 8.
2 times 8 or 8 times 2? Let's see. You got 8, 16. Yep, that works. Let's try 2. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Hey-o, 11's onto something. I'd like for us to create that as one of our rectangles. 8 times 2 or 2 times 16. And we already know that that's going to give us an answer of 16 units squared. Okay, so now we're going to build that. I'm going to make my 8 going across because I don't think I have 8 squares going up and down. So you go ahead and do the same. I have 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then I have a width of 2. So I'm going to put 2 going on the left side for me. And then I'm going to fill in my whole rectangle. I'm going to take a minute to look at your screens. Awesome. Aiden Hampton, we need to get that 8 times 2 going, please. Good. I see some of you moving those rectangles around, recognizing some errors that we made. Good. Okay. So we're building an area of 8 times 2, which equals 16 square units. Now I need to add my perimeter. And remember, your perimeter is going to be your length plus your length and your width plus your width. My length, we already know it. It's up here in the multiplication equation. It's 8. There are 2 of them, the top and the bottom. My width is the same. There are 2 of them. On the left side, there are 2 squares. On the right side, there are 2 squares. So my perimeter is going to be 8 plus 8 plus 2 plus 2. Again, I know that 8 plus 2 equals 10. So I know that this perimeter is going to be 10 plus 10, which is equal to 20 units. Okay, Yesterday, we talked about not being able to use ones because we don't have enough space to go 16 squares across the whole screen. So ones were out. We just used twos. I'm going to send you into breakout rooms and you are going to complete this side over here with your breakout room. What other two numbers that are not 8 or 2 multiplied together to give you an area of 16? Okay, so you're going to figure out what other factors multiply to give you an area of 16, and then you'll find the perimeter. Okay, that is what you are getting ready to go to breakout rooms to do, and then we will check it together when we get. Alrighty, I am sharing my screen with you with the equations, the formulas that your group should have come up with. The other way to create a rectangle that will fit inside of this space is 4 times 4 equals 16. Now, the perimeter also happens to be the same as the area because 4 on the left, you can see they're both green, plus the 4 on the top are both blue, plus the 4 on the right, which are both red, and the 4 on the bottom, which are both yellow, gives us a total length, if we were to walk all the way around this or put a fence all the way around this, of 16 units. Okay? This should have been the other answer that your group came up with. Slide 11 is going to be a slide that I am going to take a grade on. Okay? So during your independent work time today, you're going to do slide 11 independently. Remember, if you feel stuck, you have videos on slides 6 and 7 that show you how to solve. You have a notes page on 5. You have notes in your handy dandy notebook. And you have 2 examples that we worked together. So you have a lot of resources to help you with slide 11. Okay, look at slide 12. I know we're a little bit over time, but we're going to quickly go over slide 12 because you're going to do slide 13 independently. Okay, so on slide 12, it says, look at the given dimensions of the rectangle. Determine the area and perimeter of the rectangle. So this time, instead of creating the rectangle, it has shown you the rectangle and it's asking you to read it. So I know the area is length times width. I can see that my length is the longest side, and that's 5. So I'm going to record my area as 5 times my width, which is 3 units. 5 times 3 will give us the total area, 5, 10, 15. So this rectangle has an area of 15 square units, and I'm writing, you're writing. Now we're going to find the perimeter. You will notice that the perimeter's dimensions are shown to us on one side of the left and one side of the top, but we know that the opposite side is the same. So if the left is 5 units, I can see that the right is also 5 units. If the top is 3 units, I can see that the bottom is also 3 units. So I'm going to record all of these, both of my lengths, 5 plus 5, and both of my widths, 3 plus 3, and I'm going to know the total distance around the outside of the shape. 5 plus 5, this is quick mental math for me, that's 10. 3 plus 3 is 6. Oops, made a mistake. So my perimeter is 10 plus 6, which is 16 units. questions on how we found those areas or perimeters? Okay. Now it says what different dimensions of a rectangle would also give you an area of 15 square units. Use what you know about multiplication facts to help you solve this mentally. Well, what else can I multiply to get 15? What about 1? 1 times 15 would in fact equal 15. And I can use that because this time it said mentally, I don't have to make it fit down here in the squares. So 1 times 15 is going to give me an area of 15 units squared, or square units. I'm writing, you're writing. So now mentally, I'm going to think about that rectangle. It's going to be super long like this, but I know that my lengths and widths are right here in front of me, and I need each of them twice. The one on the top, the one on the bottom. So this is going to be 1 plus 1. The 15 on the left, the 15 on the right. So this is going to be 15 plus 15. All I do in my perimeter is double the lengths and the widths, just like I did here. There's a 5, there's 2 5s. There's a 3, there's 2 3s. We're just doubling those because rectangles have 2 of the same size sides twice. So now I can do some mental math. I know with doubles, 15 plus 15 is 30. Hopefully we all know that 1 plus 1 is 2. So my total perimeter is 2 plus 30, which is 32 units. Slide 13 works the same way. It gives you a rectangle to read, and then you have to think of a rectangle mentally that would give you the same area. Okay, so you're using those multiplication facts to help you. Slides 11 and 13 are what I'm going to be grading for accuracy. The other slides, if you got them done, you got an A+ on them. But 11 and 13, I'm going to be looking at the correct answers. Okay? On slide 14, you are asked to explain if you feel successful or not. So you will use your math vocabulary to say if you were successful in identifying and drawing rectangles with the same area and perimeter or not. Okay? Again, I am done grading tomorrow. I keep thinking it's a day ahead. Tomorrow before I go to bed. So this assignment has to be done. I would recommend getting it done now during your work time so that it's fresh in your head.